Vaccination for the nation, no more isolation. With vaccination. Paturok, paturok.
To all RJ Digi TV viewers, you can also watch us on YouTube channel RJ Digi TV. Just go to YouTube, type RJ space Digi TV, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and get your daily dose of your favorite programs. Thank you for watching RJ Digi TV. Current news, controversies, discussions, sentimiento ng bayan. Switch it on or just tune in to know the hottest and latest issues around. On Channel 224 Sky Cable, TV Plus boxes, GMA Affordabox, and all DTT boxes. Also heard on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Gising na! Powered by Daily Tribune. Coming soon on Teleradio Bandido TV. You are watching the multi-awarded Radio Bandido TV on Channel 224 Sky Cable and TV Plus boxes. Simulcast on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Informing, advising, and entertaining the Filipinos and OFWs around the world. Streaming live on www.facebook.com/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. or on YouTube, channel RJAM News. To all Teleradio Bandido viewers and listeners, you can now watch Teleradio Bandido on our new YouTube channel, RJAM News. Hit the subscribe button and like the video. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified when a new video gets uploaded. Don't miss out on our dynamite lineup.
Hello and welcome to the World News Jam right here on DZRJ and RJTV. My name is Eric Lecain and I'm joined as always with Lolly Tolentino. We're right here on the radio on 8:10 a.m. on your radio dial and Sky Cable channel 224. And if you're like me and you only have a cell phone, watch us on YouTube at RJAM News and subscribe to us there. Lolly Tolentino, how are you doing today? My goodness, Lolly Tolentino, that is the most incredible necklace brooch thingy I have ever seen.
Thank you, Eric. Yeah, when you're wearing something nice, you feel good all the time. That's why you need to look, beautiful as ever, as I'll always say. But I don't know the others.
Well, I am sporting a nice Divisoria Ralph Lauren polo shirt that I got for 350 pesos. So I don't know that. I guess that is making me feel fine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, whatever you wear, Eric, you look good. So there's no problem about that. Yeah, it's a matter of how you carry it.
Because it's been a very stressful week. I got to tell you, let me tell you, Lolly, thinking of the most stressful things in your life, having a baby, starting a new job, getting the vaccine, those are nothing compared to having construction workers come to your house. That is the most stressful thing I think there could ever be. Where's my food? I don't have the right tools. Where's my cash advance? We don't have all the materials we need. Oh my goodness, stressing me out. Here's what I think they should do. Here's what I think all construction workers should do is they should charge you based on how much stress they give you. So if they give you almost like no stress at all, then the price should be really high because you pay for not having. But if they give you a lot of stress, then it should be much, much, much cheaper. I think that's how they should. Yep. I think that's how they should.
Yeah.
do it.
Why? Yeah. Why don't we make a law like that? Okay. If you stress me out, I'm gonna pay you less.
You're gonna pay me. I'm gonna give you less, and no cash advance. So In any case, I think right now I was stressed before, but now I'm relaxed and feeling good because I am on the World News Jam here with Lolly Tolentino, answering questions that the viewers have sent in. It's me and Lolly's necklace here on the show today. So, Lolly, what kind of questions have people been writing in this week? I'm sure because this has been a very busy week that there's some good ones. So let's get going.
Oh, but before I do that, you know me, I cannot read without my reading glasses.
Oh my God, where did you get those? Those are beautiful, Lolly Tolentino. Where did you get those? Are those brand new glasses?
Yes, it is a brand new glasses from your favorite place in Cash and Carry, IQ.
IQ Optical. Yes, I had a feeling you might have gone there. By the way, in case you haven't joined us for the last couple of weeks, I bought a pair of glasses from IQ, and I'm loving my glasses. They are Calvin Klein glasses. They have like all the designer brands over there. And Lolly Tolentino, you have a gorgeous pair of glasses.
Well, you know, Eric, when you know how to choose your glasses, that will really fit your face, you know, your personality. You know, you can easily get all kinds of glasses in that place in IQ. So if you want, maybe I'm getting some more later on, but for now, I have this beautiful pink. Actually, this is reading glasses. And, you know, like you said, I look good with my reading glasses. Well, guys, I know where to, I'll tell you where to go.
So do you put more into you put more into picking out your reading glasses or picking out a husband?
Well, good question, Eric.
I'm just looking at
I can do both.
Because I was going to say you have very good choice in glasses because you got some really good glasses. Now they helped me a lot. Were they very helpful to you?
Yes, they are. They're very helpful. They're very kind, and you know, this is the kind of service that I really want to. You know, if I'm going to a place, I mean the lady that works there, the doctor, I mean, they're very helpful. So they ask me, you know, what I want, you know, what I need. So they attended to me very well, Eric.
And they have a 50 to 70% off sale going on right now. And I'm all about the 50 to 70% off. That is me to a tilt. So yeah, so I'm loving my glasses. So I'm glad Lolly Tolentino has got some glasses. So now that you have some great, beautiful glasses and a gorgeous necklace, why don't you start? Let's have what is the first question that we have for this week from our viewing audience?
Yes, we get another exciting question for the week from Bernadette of Pasig. Do you think the visit of U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris visit to Guatemala a success? And why Latinos love to go to the U.S., are they not happy in their own country?
Okay. All right, this issue kind of stands out with that trip to Guatemala because I think Kamala Harris, she is supposed to be the next great hope for immigrants. I mean, her mother's from India, her father's from Jamaica. Her parents came to America as immigrants for that great hope of having a better life for their children. And now look at their child. She is one step away from being the president of the United States. So, it just seems like Kamala was supposed to be the new Messiah to remove the immigrant nightmare that was Donald Trump, but it didn't go exactly the way that we thought it was going to go. Kamala was in her news conference and she said, "Don't come." She said, "I want to be clear, folks in this region who are thinking about making the dangerous trek to the United States, to the Mexican border, don't come, do not come." So when I was listening to this, I'm like, what? Wait a minute, what? Why would she say that? She's in Guatemala. That's the last thing that the Guatemalans want to hear. So as you can guess, that did not go over well with the local people there. She said, if you come to the border, you probably won't get in. Yet that's not exactly true. People do get in. And it's, part of the reason that so many immigrants are fleeing those places down there is because of U.S. policies in that region. What was President Reagan, who declared war down there against the Chinese-backed rebels, and the people that were hurt the most, the people who suffered the most, were the people. at that time, millions of people fled to the United States. So this is why it's so puzzling. Why would she make such a statement like that at a news conference? And, and there's so many things that she could have said. Like, for instance, hey, guys, just hang on. We're going to get everything worked out. I mean, the promises they made during the election, like leading up to the presidency, where they were going to do so much to better the immigration situation that's going on at the Mexican border, like, of course, much better than the last administration. In the last one, Trump pretty much said, don't come because we're not going to let anybody in. Nobody gets in, period. But the fact that she would say, don't come, it just seems such an odd thing that she would be saying. Now, we were talking about Latinos and, why do they want to come here? Most of these comes out of the Northern Triangle. What is it? Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. And people ask, why do they want to come to the United States? Don't they like it in their country? No, they don't like it in their country. Poverty, corruption, war, dictatorships. I mean, that's a way of life there. So, of course, any place is better than there. I mean, Honduras is the murder capital of the world. And the United States is just a walk away. You don't need a flight. You can, get on some good shoes and go. So they want to come to the United States like her parents did and have a better life. And, and right now they're coming to the Mexican border and they're throwing their kids over the fence because of U.S. immigration policy now. And so everybody was hoping that the Biden administration was going to change all this.
Okay. Well, at some point, I think I understand the point of the vice president. Maybe she was trying to say, don't come yet. Like what you mentioned earlier, that, don't come yet, we're trying to do something. But maybe she was just stuck on that situation for saying, don't come. She forgot the word yet.
Yeah.
All right.
She left out the word. I mean, the question was what about the trip that she took down? And some of it was, a little bit of a success. Biden, they pledged $4 billion to help the causes of mass immigration. And that, and Harris said over the next 3 years, they would invest $40 million in programs for youth, especially for women, to give $48 million in affordable housing and agricultural businesses to the country down there in Guatemala. They said U.S. will assist in anti-corruption panels. The trick is any of this going to work? The United States has promised this over and over and over. We're going to give money, we're going to do this, we're going to help the problem there so people won't want to immigrate to the United States, so they'll be fine in their country. Yet somehow, it's never really worked yet. So I'm hoping that, right now people, do I want to stay in my country and starve and be possibly killed? Or do I want to walk all the way to the Mexican border and attempt to jump over the fence, throw my child over the fence, and hopefully that my child can have a better life? If I had a choice, I would probably do it too. I would probably try because people get over the fence. People get, on the water and they get around the fence. It's possible. Wow. So if I was in the midst of starving or, possibly being killed, yeah, I would probably try it too. So yeah, the Harris and Biden, they need to come up with a plan to help this mass immigration that's going on there right now, or it's just going to keep going on.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's wait for that because give them time. I think they're really, since Harris is, came from immigrants' parents, probably, they're really thinking of something. Maybe we just need for the right time.
Yeah, they just.
Okay, there's a follow-up question on that from Ibay, Manila.
Yeah.
This is a follow-up. Why some people don't like her message when she says don't come?
Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, of course. Like, the last thing you should say to people who are trying to escape their country to come here is don't come. Wait a minute. You're supposed to be the person that's going to help us. Yeah, that's why you're down here. We thought you were coming down here to help us, and now you're telling us don't come? It was just and here again, on our show, we endorsed Kamala Harris. I mean, we said she was going to be great and she was going to fix all these problems and she was going to be great for immigration. So, Camilla, come on. We need you to be helpful to these people. The Trump administration was like, okay, we don't want any immigrants. It's America only, America first. Nobody else can come here. Well, that's never going to work because America needs immigrants. They're a nation of immigrants. There are jobs there that are open, wide open right now. They're looking for people to work, and the people that work in those jobs are the people from Guatemala and Honduras and El Salvador. So America honestly needs them. So I just think that maybe Kamala could have come up with, something a little better other than, hey, don't come. Because then who does she sound like? The person that she hates the most.
Okay. For me, I will give them chance and time to make this work. I am sure they're doing something on this, especially after saying that. All right, again, we'll talk about that soon. Let's go to Ingrid of Las Piñas City. How dangerous and scary when Russia supply Iran with an advanced satellite system that will boast Tehran ability to surveillance military targets.
Oh my goodness, what an article this was. So this article came out this week that Russia will give Iran a Canopus 5 satellite. That's equipped with a high resolution camera. Now, these satellites, by the way, high resolution camera, my phone has a high resolution camera on it. It's great. The high resolution camera they have is like 2 meters wide. I just went outside. I just went outside the frame of the camera. So these things are amazing. They're not as good as the United States. The United States has the same thing going around, but the United States can pinpoint like a fly on the top of a roof. This is not that, but it's pretty darn good. And the problem is now, first thing, Russia is giving them the access to this satellite so they can look at other countries in the Middle East, including Israel. Why is that so scary? Well, we don't want them to see what's going on in Israel. First of all, Russia is helping the Iranians to spy on their enemies, which means that Russia is now backing Iran to do stuff like this. Iran is currently working on a nuclear weapon. If you want to ask like why this is scary and dangerous, man, I can give you a long list of things. But they have the ability now to look at places like Iraq, where American military are there, and they can like look at what they're doing and where they're going. I know the Russians are always looking at us. They're always looking at the United States. They're pinpointing where their troops are. And that's why we always know where the Russian troops are, because we pinpoint where they are. But that was okay before because it's Russia and the United States. But now Iran shouldn't have this kind of technology. And by the way, this satellite is not leaving Iran. It's leaving Russia. They're launching it from Russia, and then there has been, over the last while, these experts going to Iran to teach them how to use it. Now, of course, Russia says, oh, no, we're not doing that. But of course, we know they're doing that. We know they're doing that. We have satellites. We can see what they're doing. They asked Putin about this, and he said it's all garbage, and we're not giving Iranians the satellite tracking system. And then he backed it up by saying, well, it's all fake news. We're not giving it to them, but maybe at the least I don't know about it. Okay, what does that mean? He knows exactly what to say.
Okay, so we know and then Eric, remember, these people will not admit if they're helping, other country for, something like this, which is, we know this is really scary because, you and I don't want somebody to, to look for us what we're doing every day. Like, what is Eric doing today? So if you have the technology to find what you're doing, so that is scary, right?
I mean, the Israelis do not want the Iranians to know what they're doing. They don't want to know that they turned their missile launcher this way or they did this. And for Russia to say that, oh, no, this is not happening, we're not doing it. Of course they're doing it. I mean, it's not like they're going to publish all this information, just making it up. They've been watching exactly what they're doing, and of course they have spies in Iran, and there's all kinds of ways they're able to predict these things. But the real thing that's worrisome, I think, to a lot of people is that Trump backed out of the nuclear deal with Iran, which we spoke about a lot on the show. And so right now Iran in secret is working on a nuclear weapon. And Biden, I know, has said that he is going to try and redo that deal so they can get the Iranians to stop working on a nuclear weapon, and they can really, help with the sanctions, so forth. But do you think the Iranians are going to trust the United States anymore? Because the Iranians are looking at like, hey, who's going to be president in 4 years?
Yeah.
Hey, maybe that dude is going to turn on the deal that Biden made with us. So how do we know what the U.S. is going to do anymore? What if Trump is president again in 4 years? And then all of a sudden, we can't do it anymore. So I think the Iranians are going to be very careful about what they're going to do and how they're going to play this out.
Yeah. And at some point, I think really Iran will not trust U.S. about this anymore. Well, I hope they're going to come up with an agreement, gentleman's agreement in the future. All right, let's go to Fidel.
Yeah, there's no more gentleman agreements anymore. Not after Donald Trump broke all the promises that the U.S. made.
Right?
But anyway.
All right, let's go to Fidel. Why did world biggest meat producer JBS face $11 million cybercrime ransom? Can you explain about this?
All right, welcome to the best crime of these days. Ransom. This cyber ransom that they're doing. Remember, we used to do good old-fashioned crimes like bank robbery. You pass the teller a note, and then she puts the cash in the bag, and then you jump in the getaway car, and you have a high-speed chase, and the police chase you, and you shoot back and forth. Now, why do you need to go to all that trouble when you can just sit in your nice Russian warehouse with all your hackers and steal millions without ever leaving your seat? This is the way of the future, these cyber crimes. I mean, ransomware. Yeah. It's a new term now. I mean, you hack into a company's server and steal all their files, moving them to your Russian servers, and then you call up the company and you say, listen, if you don't pay us, we'll destroy all your files or we'll publish them to the public. And this is what's happened to JBS, one of the biggest meat companies in the United States. They're all over the world. A group of hackers, code name R Evil or something like that, out of Russia. They hacked into their system, shut down the whole operation. Now, as of now, it's unclear exactly how much the group asked for, but JBS agreed to pay them $11 million, and JBS paid it. And now, let me just say that JBS, in case you're following this story, JBS was back online before they even paid the money. But what JBS was worried about was if they released all their financial documents, I mean, it could cause all kinds of havoc. So just to be safe, they went ahead and forked over $11 million, even though they were back up and running, just to make sure that their files would not be released to the public.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is happening a lot lately. I mean, we've talked about this on the show a couple times, these ransomware things. The Colonial Pipeline, that just happened. The Colonial Pipeline was hacked, and that sent gas prices through the roof in America. That's the pipeline that runs up and down the East Coast. Eventually, the company just broke, and they paid $4.4 million in Bitcoin to a group called the Dark Side Gang. Now, remember, back in the old days, bank robbers, they had gangs. Now there's gangs, and they have names. They have names. So the Dark Side Gang did that. Now, some of that money, or most of that money, was recovered because they were able to follow it. But they never found the hackers. They never discovered the hackers. They know they're from Russia, but they never got it. But just before we leave this, Acer. I was reading this. I just recalled this just now. Acer, they were hacked, and Acer is a computer company. They're a computer company, and they were hacked. And this was in the news a while ago. And Acer just got so scared of what they were going to do with their information that they paid them, I think it was $50 million to get their stuff back, to get their servers back. And I have to say, that's the way a lot of it goes. These, they're mostly from Russia, some from China. They come in, they hack your thing, and then they say, okay, listen, if you don't pay us $50 million, then we are going to destroy all your files. And then what you do is you negotiate them down. You negotiate them from 50 million down to 20 or 11 or 4. The NBA was hacked. The NBA was hacked recently, and they threatened to share players' salaries and personal data with the world if they didn't pay them. Now, the NBA hasn't paid yet. Not as far as I know. I may be in secret, but as far as I know, they haven't paid yet. But this is the new crime. This is the new way to make millions of dollars. And all you have to do is just sit in your basement in Russia, which is where most of these places are.
I gotta call it like a high-tech robbery.
Yeah, I mean it's like kidnapping. It's a kidnapping, and then we'll let them go. We'll let your files go, but you got to pay us all this money. And they know that they're going to pay. They know they're going to pay something, because a lot of these companies like JBS, they cannot risk it. They can't risk these files getting out into the wrong hands, because now all of a sudden their whole business is compromised. So it's such a great thing to do, because you know that they're going to pay you something. It's like going into the hardware store and letting a pipe fall on your head and then suing them for $100 million. They're not going to pay you $100 million, but they may pay you $50,000, which is fine. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Crazy
Very
world we live in, yeah.
All right, now let's go now to Sophie of Mandaluyong. Why do you think Prime Minister Boris Johnson hails President Biden as a big breath of fresh air? Comment, please. I think this is from the summit, right?
The big breath of fresh air. Yes, you are correct. This is coming from the summit. Okay, I mean, all right, they dealt with Donald Trump for 4 long years. Many times over the years, those leaders were like, what did he just say? Never knowing if he was serious or he's joking or he's just plain dumb. Trump alienated almost all of the European leaders. And so I'm sure there was a huge sigh of relief when Biden won the election. I mean, one of the things is that, the U.S. and Britain are going to try and rework their trade agreement. I mean, this is a big thing. I know Trump scared, a lot of people a lot of time on his crazy things that he was going to do with trade, the threats that he made now. But I think that what a lot of European leaders are like, okay, now we can go back to normal. We can go back to the way things kind of were, where everybody was fine. And I know Brexit is looming in the sky, and the U.S. is going to need to be involved in that somehow as it all plays out. And then, of course, there's the never-ending issue of Northern Ireland, which we've talked about at great lengths on the show. So I think this face-to-face meeting at the G7 was where Boris, he's taken his deep breaths, but they didn't go down the path of Northern Ireland as much as I thought they would. Instead, they talked about fixing, all the Trump bombs like NATO and climate change and the things that they're going to have to do to get that back on track. But Biden has some hill climbing to do. He preached at that G7 about democracy, and we should not go down authoritarianism. But the world, especially at the G Summit, is looking at what happened in the U.S. in the last 4 years and what happened at the end of those 4 years. With, they overran the Capitol. And this is when, you say sometimes democracies go bad. Well, in the United States, here's an example of how democracies can go bad. So the U.S. is no longer the shining example of what a democratized country should look like. And just this week, news came out that Trump has used the DOJ to subpoena Apple to get data on his Democratic rivals. So, yeah, I mean,
right.
This is including their families and minors. And Apple is like, we're supposed to what? Now, this comes just after, what was the story we're talking about? The DOJ got information on a reporter. The DOJ, the Department of Justice. So Trump is using the Department of Justice to spy on people. And they're getting subpoenas for this is not how democracy is supposed to work. The courts are supposed to work separately from the politics. And so when stuff like this is going on, it just makes the U.S. look like, wow, okay, you're here at the G7 preaching to us about democracy. Maybe you need to turn around and look in the mirror.
Well, I think Trump will do everything he can. So let's just wait and see.
You know what? Let me just make one more point. Okay, Putin is a big issue at this summit, and So when they start criticizing Putin now about authoritarianism and how he did this and he interferes in his elections, and Putin's gonna. What do you think Putin's gonna say? Putin's gonna go, "What? Hey, what? Wait a minute. What have you guys been doing in the United States? You overran your own capital. You threatened to kill political leaders. You brought a rope to hang the vice president. So why are you yelling at me? You should look at why don't you yell at the United States some?" So of course this is going to give people like Putin something to say about. And just one last thing when it comes to Boris Johnson, and this is going to be a sticky point, and this is something we can watch because I know this is going to be an issue. Northern Ireland, and I know we talk about it too much here on the show, but in 1998, Northern Ireland opened its borders, and they have been a peaceful place for the most part since then. But now, what's going to happen? Brexit is coming, so Ireland is part of England, but Northern Ireland wants to stick with the EU. So the EU is going to keep the same policies with Northern Ireland, and yet they're part of England, yet England is not, and the Republic of Ireland is not. So this is an issue that the United States is going to be involved in, I'm sure. I mean, Northern Ireland is not going to be part of the EU, yet they are. And so how are the customs and all this kind of stuff going to travel back and forth? And they're talking about the new policies they're coming out with. But is peace going to continue on that border? And that is what everybody's worried about, and that's what the U.S. is worried about, is the peacefulness between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland and everybody else. And so we don't want this to go back to, remember what it was like before when you and I were growing up and they were bombing each other all the time? So I think that is a big issue between that. Okay, Boris Johnson has a big sigh of relief because at least Trump is not there anymore, but he's still got a lot of stuff to work out with Biden.
Okay. Well, good luck to them. I think they can really work together, Biden and Johnson, about this issue.
I think they will too. I think they'll be okay. Especially if Boris Johnson ever combs his hair. But I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Okay, let's go to Marichu Pasi. Airline industry suffers cyber attack. What is happening now? What does it tell to the world?
Oh my goodness. There has been a barrage of cyber attacks in the airline industry. I mean, you think that the airline industry would be the safest place, but CETA, who provides IT for about 90% of the airline industry, was hit with a whole bunch of attacks. And when you think about cyber attacks in the airline industry, it's like, wait a minute, are they telling a plane to go this way and another plane to go that way, and so they're going to crash into each other? No, that's not what is happening. What's happening is they're stealing personal data from people that are flying. And actually Chinese hackers, now moving over to China. They went after EasyJet, which is a British airline company, and they accessed emails and travel details on like 9 million people.
That's a lot.
And boy, and this is not the first time that EasyJet's got hit. EasyJet ran a competition on Facebook saying that you can get a free flight. You ever seen these things? You can get a free flight. All you got to do is fill this out, and then we'll put you in for a free flight. Well, it wasn't EasyJet at all. It was some Chinese company, and people were putting in their data and their frequent flyer miles and sending it to these people, and they got tons of personal information on people through this fake Facebook thing that they were doing. So, there was another story I was reading that just came to mind. Air India, they hacked the site-to-site for Air India. 10 years of passenger data was stolen in one cyber attack. And this is with this one company that runs the IT services for all these airlines. Mm-hmm. And so, with the India thing, they got people's name, date of birth, contact information, their passport numbers. Some of their credit card info was pulled in, ticketing info. Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot that they can do with this. And one of the big problems in these cyber attacks, especially in the airline industry, is the airline industry. Now, if you've been following this over the last couple of months, I read about it every once in a while. They don't know that they've been attacked for months. It's usually months later that they figure out, oh shoot, they've been getting our information for us for the last 3 months. And so this is what's scary about these cyber attacks. And You know,
Yeah.
people have said, what are we going to do about it besides just cut the cable? But we can't, cut the cable because the world now works on the internet. So once you learn how to infiltrate the internet and, do these attacks, it's hard to protect yourself.
Yeah, that is really scary. I mean, it is very scary because all the data, especially your bank account, right? If you have a lot of money in your account, they can easily hack it, and it's happening already.
I mean,
Happens here in the Philippines. Many times.
banks are pretty good. Banks are pretty good at stopping hackers, but we're not. We, as personal
Yeah,
people, are not. And if we're putting in our credit card number to buy an airline ticket, I need to know that that's safe. That's
Yeah.
that it's like at night when you close your window. You close your window and you lock your window, and then the guy shows up and he's got a glass cutter and he just cuts a circle in the glass and opens the window. You think you're protected, but you're not. There's no way to be fully protected. And so I think this is something that this company has really got to work hard on because we, these days especially, we don't go to ticket agencies to buy tickets anymore. We buy them online.
That's the thing. We are in the comfort of our room and booking ourselves to airline and without knowing it.
I know. And I book a lot of flights. So man, I don't want them to take my credit card. So anyway.
Okay. From Lijo of Manila. Okay, this one is good. No more polio in the Philippines, according to CNN Philippines report. It's a no-cure disease, but can be prevented by vaccine. Is this true?
Sure. I mean, this is a big story. The Philippines, once again, is polio-free. Remember when the Philippines was polio-free before, and then all of a sudden they weren't polio-free anymore? It popped up again. What was it, like 2 years ago? 2 years ago, they had 17 cases appeared in the Philippines of polio. And polio was once a pandemic, mostly for children. It's passed through ingesting food contaminated with fecal matter. I mean, it's like, how polio is passed around. And it can leave, in case you don't know, polio can leave children paralyzed. And in some cases, it can be fatal. And this was, one of the big diseases before. However, we now have an immune system to polio. And the reason that we have an immune system is vaccines. Vaccines help you from getting the disease. Now, we all carry these diseases. We have millions of diseases in our body right now. But we have an immune system that will, if you take a vaccine for polio, it'll last you a lifetime. They have boosters sometimes, but now, I think it's almost, a lifetime. And this is what the issue was with AIDS. Remember when AIDS popped up and people started dying of diseases they shouldn't, diseases that haven't been around or just like simple diseases that are in our bodies, but we don't even think about anymore because we're immune to them. And all of a sudden people became not immune to a lot of these, esoteric diseases, and they were dying from them because the AIDS attacked the immune system. And we need, our immunity system is there for a reason. And these vaccines, they change the metabolic structure of our immune system so it can protect us against certain diseases like smallpox and polio, things that we don't even think about anymore. And the fact that came back in the Philippines was, almost make you shake your head. Like, how could polio be back? Like, where did it come from? Because it's been gone for so long. So the fact that the Philippines came in with vaccines and they get everybody vaccinated, the problem with this, the reason that polio can come back to a country like the Philippines is that people are not getting their children vaccinated.
That's the thing.
You need to get your children vaccinated.
Every year, every second, there's a newborn babies. All right?
Maybe in the Philippines, maybe 4 or 5 per second.
Yeah, exactly.
But get your baby vaccinated because, we can keep, polio can be now not in the Philippines forever.
Yeah, it can be, it can really be prevented. All right, let's go to Renato of Makati. Lots of vaccines arrived already in the Philippines. People who criticize the government for not ordering right now are probably realizing that they're doing their job. But some people are impatient, and patience is a virtue. Your thought on this?
Well, okay. As of this week, there is 106 million people have been fully vaccinated in the Philippines. I believe 1.6 million have been vaccinated now in the Philippines. Now, if you look around at like Thailand is about the same. They have about the same number. Singapore is about 1.8 million. They've only vaccinated 80,000 people. But the difference is they didn't have the disease. I mean, they hardly had any cases at all. Their government was very fast in shutting down the flights going in. They made sure that people did this. Now, in Vietnam, it's a little different because when the government says you need to do something, you better do it. And, Singapore was very good at being able to, hold the disease down. Thailand did a great job. The Philippines, all right, not so good. The Philippines has been struggling with outbreaks and the disease, coming back. People wear masks and they wear face shields, but somehow it just keeps spreading. And if you look at another place like Indonesia, who also has very high numbers like the Philippines, but Indonesia's already gotten 12 million people vaccinated. So I guess some people have the right to criticize the government for the way they handle the vaccine. There's a lot of shoulda, woulda, couldas going on in the response to the pandemic in the Philippines. They should have procured the vaccine earlier. They should have not relied so much on donations. They should have jumped on all these falsehoods that are coming out on Facebook about how, vaccines will kill you and make you sterile and all these kind of things. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of looking back and going, well, you should have done this. And it'd be better if you had have gone this route. They probably should not have made all the excuses they did for their mistakes. I mean, there's a lot of things. Duterte came out this week and told the public, you need to get vaccinated. You need to get vaccinated. It's not just going to help you. It's going to help people you love. And so, it's true. I mean, I look at what the president has said and what he's done, and it looked like he's doing good. However, sometimes it has to do with the country itself. The country needs to come together like a lot of these other Southeast Asian countries do in order to combat this disease. And I know that you don't have a job and you don't have money and you can't come outside for, there's all these lockdowns and everything. Yeah, I mean, it's a problem and it's easy to criticize the government.
Yeah, I mean, even before, if I remember it correct, before when they're trying to get vaccine, there's a lot of debate on the budget. It's the Congress, the Senate, they were fighting over it.
Yeah.
So that's why there's some delays, because you cannot just order, I think, without the approval. So because you need to have a budget. What if I order 1,000 and you only give me a budget for 500? So there's a lot of debate here. That's why I think it gets delayed. Plus, the supply that they order, it does, we got it late because, we are a third country. We are not a priority country for this.
You know what? That's what I keep hearing. It's like, oh, well, we're the Philippines. We don't have the. I mean, I can look at Cambodia. I can look at some other countries and say, they're kind of in the same boat. So, I mean, I'm sure people are saying, so why is the Philippines always, the one? Why are they always the one that's in last place? Why are they the ones that are always having the problem? They said that that by now we're supposed to have 21% of all seniors and people with health problems vaccinated. But that fell way short. Right now, it's like maybe 14% of seniors and 8% of people with health problems are vaccinated as of now. So and right now, there's a lot of people that can get vaccinated, but they don't know where to get the vaccine. So there's stuff. I mean, there's mistakes. But like I said, if there's a mistake, there's a mistake. All right, now fix it. Here's how we got to do to fix it. We got to come together, and Duterte keeps saying the same thing. He keeps saying, listen, we need to come together to make this work. And we either listen to the president or we don't. And that, it's one of the things that the country needs to do. Now, I got to say, COVAX last week, they sent 3.5 million doses to the Philippines, which is great. And they think 11 million doses will be here by June. and maybe 11 million doses by July. That's what they're predicting. But people are skeptical of everything that the government says now, because they say, oh, we're going to get this many, and then they don't show up, and then they don't have the vaccine. So, Duterte said we're going to start the vaccine then, and it didn't happen. And we're going to start next month, and it didn't really happen the next month. So, okay, there's things, there's mistakes, there's things that you can criticize. But what good is criticizing going to do you sometimes? That's all I can say.
Yeah, and the thing is, as I always say, even to friends, because there's a politics always that plays in this issue. So people are listening to relatives telling them that this is not safe to take the vaccine, and so many issues. That's why, hopefully they change their mind later on.
Here's one thing I can say is of course, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but of course, people who don't particularly like Duterte, they want to see him fail. They want to see it screw up. They're overjoyed when there's a problem and things don't work out. And the fact that people don't want to take the vaccine, and it's, so they're happy about this. And this is the kind of thing where we need to be non-political. I know, like the politicians that we hate, we want to see them fail, but this is not one of those times. This is one of those times where it's really for the good of the country. We need, and I'm not talking about people dying. We are talking about dying people, but actually the people who die in the Philippines is very small. In relation to how many people have had the virus, the number of people that have died is actually fairly small, but it really has to do with getting the economy back and getting regular life back, getting things back to normal. That's what we're fighting for, and that's going to help everybody as a whole. If this is one of those moments where everybody needs to help your president to get to that point, because they got to get past this, because like we've said on the show many times, the economy is going to struggle. Maybe not so much now, but very soon it's going to start to really struggle.
Yeah. So that's why for now, forget about the politics. Whoever's running the country, just do whatever is good for ourselves. And
I know there's an election coming up, and we're talking about who's going to run for the election, and is Duterte going to run again? Maybe the vice president. But this has to be separate from that. That's going to be fun, and we're going to talk about it all the time, whatever. But this pandemic thing, we can't allow the pandemic to flare up again, especially right now, especially in other places like outside of Manila, like the places that it's flaring up now in the province. This is something we said on the show months ago, that, oh my God, don't let it go to the province. And now it's in the province. And so now you're going to have to get vaccines into the province to get them going. So, like whoever was that wrote the question in, patience. We got to have patience, and we have to be smart about it. Patience, do what you're supposed to do until you get that vaccine. Just be patient, and eventually it's going to happen.
Okay, let's go to Jeffrey of Pasay. Seniors who are fully vaccinated can go out now. What can you suggest to others who are not vaccinated?
All right. So, people who are 65 and over, not you and me, Lolly. People who are 65 and over, who are fully vaccinated in GCQ areas can go outside, finally. Now, can you imagine you've been inside for a year and a half, and now you're going to be able to go outside. But now, if you are in an ECQ area, you still cannot go outside, I think that's correct. You can still not fly. If you're 65 or over, you can't fly to another place. You can go to another place. If you're in Manila, you can go to Rizal or you can go to Laguna, but you can't get on a plane and fly down to Mindanao. It's the way I understand it. And also, if you're over 65 and you're fully vaccinated and you go outside, you have to have on a mask and a face shield.
Of course.
So, I think we should wear it anyway, just because. Even though you've been vaccinated, just keep wearing a mask just because, so we don't have to think, does that person who doesn't have a mask on, is he not wearing a mask, or is he vaccinated? So we don't have to think about, who might be out now. So I think it's good if for now, even though you're vaccinated, to keep wearing a mask. And like I said, Sinovac only covers 50%. The people say you can still get the disease even if you've been vaccinated.
And like I said before, wearing mask now is fashionable. You can wear any kind of mask that matches your clothes, your shirt, whatever. Just make yourself feel comfortable. And you know what? I learned to love to wear masks because like I said before, I don't need to put makeup. I just walk around with a mask.
I don't have to brush my teeth anymore.
Yeah.
I can just
have to brush your teeth.
I don't have to brush my teeth. I can eat a chocolate bar and just smile, and it doesn't matter. Or when somebody's taking my picture, I don't have to smile anymore. I can just go, I'm smiling.
Yes, exactly. But they can see it in your eyes.
It's funny. I just know some of my friends. They have dresses that look like my painting back here, and then they have a mask to match the exact color that's in the dress. Anyway, I'm just saying.
Oh.
Some people are buying dresses with the mask as a, what do you call that? What is it called when you have something that matches? It's your accessory.
Yes. And, some are putting some, I don't know. But anyway, those are the things that they want. Okay, fine. Let's go to Monzo.
Is an accessory now.
What is the best exercise that you can advise to people on different age level? Why it's very important to everyone? Yes.
All right. This is
exercise, Eric.
What I like about these stories that are not news, they're not in the news. It's just a general question, and it's great to have these questions like this sometimes because we can just talk about it because this is the interesting question. I'm assuming this person is talking about when you get older. I mean, that's what it sounds like, which is on a different age level. You mean like older? And if you want to know what is the best exercise advice for people who are getting older, walking. Walking is the best. It is the best exercise. Now, some people say jogging. Well, okay, yes, jogging is also good. There's certain age you're going to get to where it gets harder to jog because of your knees and ankles and so forth and your hips and stuff. And also, as you get into the older ages of above 75, above 80, you don't want to fall. That's very important. So going out for a walk, a nice fast walk, is some of the best exercise you can do because it will get your heart going. Now, technically, probably, I think the best exercise you can do is water aerobics. I think that is great. I've seen, I've actually been in these classes. They are very hard to do, but you're lifting weights, you're jogging, you're working, your heart is pumping everything, and all the while you're in the water. You're in the water, so it doesn't have to, if you pick up a heavy weight in the water, it doesn't matter, and you're not going to drop it. You're not going to drop anything. So the chances of getting injured, which is what we have to look at when we're exercising, and once we get over 65 and we're exercising, one of the big things we have to worry about is getting injured. And I got to say, water aerobics, you're really not going to get injured. I've never heard of anybody getting injured in a swimming pool, in water aerobics. But, thinking about other things, resistance bands, workouts, there's a lot of things that you can do. Resistance bands are great because there's no heavy lifting. There's no weights or anything you have to pick up. It's just a band and you move it back and forth. And those things are great. But as far as something in life, exercising, it affects so many things. Our heart is a muscle. And we don't think about it. We think of the muscles in our arms and the muscles in our leg. But there is one muscle in your body that never stops working, and that is your heart. It beats when you're awake. It beats when you're asleep. Now, when you're asleep, you don't use the muscles in your arms and your legs and your feet, but your heart is the only muscle that never stops. And when it does stop, when it finally stops, that means you're dead. So in order to stay alive, that muscle has to stay strong. And a lot of times people die because their heart is weak and they get heart disease. That is actually the number one killer, I believe, in the world still, is heart disease. So one of the things we have to do is get that heart beating a little faster. It beats as we sit and we eat potato chips and we watch TV, and our heart beats and it gets slower and slower. And so now when we get up to walk to the kitchen to get more fries and to get more soda pop, then it starts beating faster. That's what it shouldn't do. That's why if we go outside and we walk around and the heart beats a little faster, when we do get up and walk to the refrigerator, it'll stay slow. And that is one of the things that means your heart is stronger, and that will make you last longer. So if you want to live longer, one of the things we have to do is strengthen our heart. And I just have to say, and then I'll let you comment on this, that exercise does so many things to you. It will increase your memory. It will protect you against chronic diseases. It loosens up the muscles in your body, because the muscles in your body will warm up. Every time you go out and you take a power walk around the neighborhood, it will loosen up the muscles in your body. It will help you with blood pressure problems. It will improve your sleep. It will it helps you with anxiety and depression. If you have cancer, it will help combat cancer fatigue. The immune system, which is what we were talking about before. If you exercise, your immune system builds every time you exercise. If you sit on the couch and you don't do anything and you eat potato chips and you watch Netflix, as I've been doing a lot this year, your immune system will drop. It'll make you sicker. It will lower stress. It's true. And I know this. If you exercise a lot, your stress level comes down. Which is why, I was thinking about going out and taking a power walk, because my stress level is through the roof because I have construction people working. And so I am crazy here. And that's why I want to get outside. I want to just get outside and see the sun and walk around the neighborhood a little bit and get my heart pumping.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Good advice, Eric. Okay. All right. In my case, for example, I do exercise, at least 3 to 4 times a week by walking. 30 minutes walk, it helps a lot. And if you cannot go out, if you're just during the time ECQ, you know what I do? I just walk around the unit back and forth for 15-20 minutes. Do my floor exercise. I have a 5-pounder what do you call this, weights, and that helps me a lot. So if you cannot go, because some people, they have excuses of not, I can't go to the gym. Well, I used to go to the gym a lot, but since during the pandemic, it changed the whole thing. So you can do exercise at home if you cannot go out. There's a lot of things that you can do at home. Right?
Now we know what it's like to be in prison. This is what it's like to be in prison. You're in prison. You're in a jail cell. Now, of course, your jail cell is a studio apartment. Or your 2-bedroom that you're living in there at the top of your condo, and you can't leave. So you're under house arrest. And a lot of us, I was under house arrest, stuck in the United States before, because we couldn't leave our house. We couldn't go anywhere. And so, there are so many things that you can do, and like I said, the word excuse, there are so many excuses that I have made for not going out and exercising when I easily could have. And that's why we're talking about, going to the pool and doing, working out in the pool. Yes. Okay. Right now you can't do that, but having a resistance band in your house, and just, how much does a resistance band cost? 300 pesos. You can go down to the mall and get a band, and there's so many things you can do with that thing. And yes, I know I used to teach sports, and I used to teach exercising and working out. So I know a lot of these things that are going on, but I have to say, if you're stuck at home in front of the TV set, and I know this is going to sound stupid, but you can go on YouTube and just do a class. Mm-hmm. Just do a class. Yeah. There are so many classes on YouTube, and some of them are hilarious, by the way. I mean, they'll make you laugh. But just go on YouTube and just follow what the person says. Just, and some of it's for just stand there and march and walk and move your arms and swing your arms around and stuff like that. Anything you do is going to get your heart moving and pumping and going a little faster. And this is why I love these cheap watches that they have. These very expensive watches that they have your heart rate on them. And if you're looking down at your watch and you see that your heart rate is 72 all the time, and it never changes, you need to get your heart rate up to 100, like at least once a day. Do something and watch your watch and make sure it goes up to 100. I mean, one of the things that I used to do in my building was I would walk out of my door on my hall, and I would go over past the elevator to the stairwell, and I would walk up 2 flights and come down 2 flights. Man, that will make your heart 100 beats per minute. And then the next day, see if you can go 2.5 flights or 3 flights and then come down again. How long does that take? 5 minutes, 8 minutes, and your heart rate will be up to 100 or 110. And that's what you need. That's one of the things that is going to make you live longer. I guarantee you this is something that will stop heart disease, because a lot of heart disease is caused by fatty tissue in the muscle because we don't use if you sit on the couch all day, your stomach gets fat, but so does your heart. And that is something that causes blockage in the arteries. And so when you get your blood pumping and you get your heart pumping it, that will keep your arteries from getting blocked and causing stroke. And I can go on and on and on about this.
Yeah. Okay. If you need advice about exercise, you can send us your text and we will tell you what to do. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can talk about it for hours and hours and hours about, things exercises that you can do without a gym, where you don't need a gym. Very simple things. I mean, if you're over 65, let's stick to that, over 65, we're not going to be doing squats. We're not going to be squatting down and standing back up, but we can march. We can march in place. And one of the things I can say is one of the best investments you will ever make is a watch with a heart rate meter on it. That is one of the best things you can get, because you can just follow it and just say, every day I'm going to get my heart to 100. And getting your heart to 100 once a day is going to prolong your life. I guarantee you.
Okay. Can I ask you, Eric, you are 6 foot tall, right?
Yes.
What's your weight now?
About 180 pounds.
Kilos.
I don't know what that is in kilos, but something like about 180.
Yeah. Okay. Because, sometimes we really have to, watch our weight, because, I always do. Now I just weighed this morning. I am 47.7 kilos. I'm 5'4".
Okay.
So, yeah, because we're talking about exercise. We're talking about this for our health. Okay. Since the pandemic, a lot of people has a lot of excuses. No, this is all that I can say. Even you are home, you can do your exercise. You can go jumping. You don't have to move, or if you don't want to walk, just do the jog. You can jog wherever you are, and you can just. Okay, maybe you can just watch Netflix later on after your exercise, but don't stay on the couch for a long time, right?
Yes, that will. You don't want to sit there for too long. In fact, if you've been sitting here watching our show for an hour, right now, it's time for you to get up and go do something, because we are out of time, Lolly, and it is time for everybody, our studio audience, to get up and do some marching in place and get their heart rate up, and join us again next week. Lolly, today has been a great show. The questions have been excellent, so thank you to all the viewers who have written us this week. Lolly, we love your necklace. We love your new glasses that you got from IQ at Cash and Carry. What a great show. We'll be back again next week with more questions from our viewers to answer and discuss here on the show. So for me, Eric Lecain, and Lolly Tolentino, and everybody here at the World News Jam on DZRJ and RJTV, we'll see you next week. So be safe out there.